Today we're going to talk about what it takes to pass Green Beret Special Forces Assessment and Selection. I asked two of my friends who are both Green Beret veterans what their advice would be to the younger them or anybody trying to make it through selection, and I compiled it for this video so that I can make it the absolute best guide for getting through Green Beret selection for you. So my first friend's advice was to really focus on endurance and durability. How long can you stay on your feet? How long can you, walk and pound the pavement with weight on? How long can you go with your feet primarily and your legs staying in good shape? You're going to want to train with the boots that you're going to wear at selection. You're going to want to work on toughening up your feet prior to going to selection. Your feet are going to be arguably the most beat up part of your body on this entire training evolution, and knowing how to train them and toughen them up and take care of them throughout the training, meaning fresh socks, moleskin, the works, is really going to have an impact on your potential to succeed at selection. One of the gentlemen actually recommended that you get your boots wet and go for a ruck long enough that you intentionally develop hot spots. That way you know where they're going to rub and you know how to take care of them once you get them, because you don't want to be learning that stuff after you're in selection. Now, I'm not saying that you should go and give yourself monstrous blisters, but the idea that you want to know how to take care of this ahead of time and the best way to practice is on yourself does hold some merit. Obviously, do this far enough before selection that your feet are fully healed and even calloused prior to getting to selection. That is a good point. You don't want to be dealing with this and then going into selection with blisters. Don't be an idiot. Another great point is land nav. You will probably learn a little bit of land nav while there, but you want to know how to use a map and compass the correct way and how to navigate for long periods of time under stress and intense situations, daylight and in the dark, because you're going to be doing a ton of rucking and navigation at selection. And I will tell you from personal experience, this weeds a lot of people out, because navigating with a map and compass is not as easy as everybody thinks, especially when you're in really crazy terrain where you know you're supposed to go this way, but you can't go this way. So now you have to mark a point, navigate around to that point, and make sure you're still on the azimuth. If the word azimuth just threw you off, then I'm talking to you. You need to learn how to navigate. You're going to want to learn practicing a 1 to 50,000 map and a compass and protractor. You're also going to want to understand your pacing count, meaning you should know when you're walking with a ruck how many strides it takes to get 100 meters, 100 yards. You should have a measuring capability so you know, hey, if I need to go 1,000 clicks, that's going to be 72 steps. I'd imagine it'll be more than that, but you want to know your numbers so that you can count out distances as you're navigating. That will be very important. If you have the opportunity to access a military obstacle course, you should do so, and you should practice, because you're going to want to learn the different techniques for getting over and under obstacles, rolling over bars, everything else. Now, I'm not going to go into all the details on that. I'll talk through an obstacle course here in the future, but you should practice how to learn how to navigate one of these effectively, because the more you can conserve energy on the obstacle course, the better you're going to perform. Again, endurance and durability. Focus on stretching and flexibility and recovery capabilities. Think of it this way. To make it through Special Forces selection, you don't need to be able to squat 315 pounds. You need to be able to squat your body weight plus gear 20 to 40 times ass to grass, meaning all the way down, all the way up, full range of motion. It is not about, can you lift this heavy weight once? It's about, can you repetitively do these grueling exercises for long periods of time while you're exhausted and still have enough left in the tank to push to the next level. You should work on things like walking lunges, farmer carries, rucking and running for long distances and periods of time, carrying weight, getting incredibly comfortable, as I've said a million times, on your feet. And you should also practice this at night with headlamps so you get used to dodging and not rolling your ankles and how to do this. But again, this is not like a leisurely stroll. Rucks are a forced pace. I know in the Marine Corps, it was 4 miles an hour was what you had to be able to maintain with a ruck, so 15-minute mile. So I would say you go out and you hit that 15-minute mile and just cruise. Hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, build up to it, do some running, do some rucking, alternating days, rest periods, do the thing. You can find a workout plan for yourself, but make sure you're comfortable running distances and rucking distances. That will eat you alive at Green Beret selection. Joints and feet are going to be your most common injuries. Feet, we've already discussed. Ankles and knees are going to be the most common joints you're going to have issues with. So make sure you're doing what you can to work on mobility and strengthen them, because you're going to want to have good knees, good ankles, good feet while training. And bottom line, mentally, you've got to have a no-quit attitude. Losing can't be an option. If you go in there with optionality and maybes, you're not going to make it. So that advice was from my friend Sterling Caesar. He's a member of my mastermind community. He's actually on my team. He's a Green Beret veteran, owns a ton of self-storage facilities, family guy, very successful. And so Sterling, I appreciate you giving this feedback. Now, the second person who gave me advice here is a Green Beret veteran as well. He's also a member of the community, badass good friend, Kevin Bowman. And I'll shout out his social media in the description as well, and his LinkedIn. Kevin is a good buddy, and both of these guys are good buddies. They're both in the group, and they were both gracious enough to give me great feedback. So we're going to dig into Kevin's now. For Special Forces Assessment and Selection, they're not looking, like, this is a marathon, not a sprint. They're not looking for the biggest, strongest, tallest guy. They're looking for the complete person. You should be a well-rounded athlete. Endurance, again, here matters. You need to be consistent in your physical performance. You need to be resilient. You need to be able to recover well. You need to be able to do everything fairly well instead of just be strong and not be able to run. And again, there's an emphasis here on aerobic and anaerobic endurance as well as strength. So basically, think like CrossFit athlete who can ruck forever. That's kind of what you're going for. You want to be able to do sprints. You want to be able to run. You want to be able to carry loads for long periods of time. You need to be somewhat strong and flexible and be able to recover for that. You've got to be a well-rounded athlete. This isn't bodybuilders. This isn't, soccer players. This is the middle ground between endurance and strength breeding together to become a Special Forces asset. For rucking, I'm just going to read this. This is the exact plan that he gave as far as rucking. For rucking, you should progressively increase load and distance. Start at 35 pounds for 3 to 4 miles, work up to 55 pounds for longer distances. Weekly long rucks, you should go 8 to 12 miles at least in a single ruck weekly as you build through this. And then you should do 1 to 2 shorter rucks weekly mixed in with running with load. So 2 to 4 miles, fast pace, emphasis building up to ruck running after 3 to 6 weeks. So for the first 3 to 6 weeks of this, you shouldn't be running with your ruck. You will mess your feet up, hurt yourself. But as you build into this period of endurance, you're going to get to a place where you're going to be able to run with this ruck on. And so then maybe you go for an 8 to 12 mile ruck and 2 to 4 of it is at a very fast pace and the rest is not. When I was training for all this stuff, I used to do, it was like 2 light poles would be power walk, 1 light pole run, 2 light poles, power walk, 1 light pole run, or whatever. Like I would build it in the intervals as I got through this. Now for running, 2 to 3 days a week include intervals, VO2 max focus, tempo runs, lactate threshold, and slow long distance runs. So if you're a runner, you know what those means. If not, you can figure out VO2 max and tempo runs. Tempo runs are fun. Long distance slow runs are fun. And then you should also work on timed 5-mile runs, as that is a benchmark. You want to be able to run a 5-mile run in 40 minutes or less. For work capacity, do anaerobic conditioning, AMRAPs, which is as many rounds as possible, like kind of the CrossFit stuff, sled drags, shuttle runs, sandbag carries. Think of functional fitness. You are going to want to have some strength and abilities here because the endurance courses and obstacle courses are going to be intense. So you're going to want to do things like, for example, for leg strength, maybe heavy squats, step-ups, lunges, sled pushes. You want to emphasize your posterior chain, right? Like the muscles you don't see on the backside of your body. Deadlifts, Russian deadlifts, hip thrusts, back extensions, core stability. You want anti-rotation like the Palif press. You want weighted carries, planks under fatigue. These will prep your body for the rigors of Special Forces Assessment and Selection and improve your resiliency. And I recommend incorporating non-standard weights into your routine. Yeah, you can expect to see some of them even at selection, right? So like shoulder girdle, trap bar carries, overhead holds, banded scapular work, sandbag drills like cleans, get-ups, and bear hug carries with a sandbag. Partner drags, you're going to want to be able to do buddy carries and log PT simulations. Metabolic conditioning, right? 15 to 30-minute circuits of sandbag squat, ruck carry, burpee intervals. Like, ideally, you want to haze yourself because selection's going to suck. Recovery is essentially make sure you're getting that 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night so that you're able to operate at 100%. You should probably start avoiding alcohol, energy drinks, high sugar content drinks, and you should aim to consume 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight every day. You're going to want some carbs and a little bit of healthy fat, but the carbs are good fuel as well. You definitely want to be working on daily mobility work, flexibility work, maybe even get into some yoga, but you want to have good thoracic rotation, good leg flexibility, and everything else. Do the soft tissue work. Use a foam roller, use a lacrosse ball, do the work, and get yourself set up to recover quickly. Periodize your training volume, get used to doing some slow recovery runs, maybe some swims, some stretching, some flexibility, hydrate, eating properly, good nutrition, all of the things, right? Like, you should be training as an athlete because this selection they want athletes, right? Here's some feedback from Sterling and Kevin. You'll see that Kevin went much deeper on like the specifics of a plan he would recommend, and Sterling stuck to kind of the higher ground, like what to do. Bottom line is on both of these is the mental piece is what kills a lot of people. So all of this will prep you for selection. Once you get to selection, if you've prepped well, this is going to be the game you got to play, which is just do not quit. All right. I hope this helps you guys out. If you watch this video and then make it through selection, comment down below so we can rack up a count for how many of you we helped make it. And at the end of the day, this is just a part of a series, so if you click this little button, it'll take you to the video where I talk about the Marine Corps Special Operations selection next, or we've also got some videos where we're talking about Navy SEAL selection and PJ selection, as well as deciding which branch of the military has the best special forces. Hope you enjoy this video. Like, subscribe, you know the drill.